Kevin.
Hello?
Kevin, you're on the podcast.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I put it on speakerphone.
Oh, you're on the podcast right now.
Is it starting right now? You've been doing it.
I called you directly. It's recording.
No, this is the start of the podcast?
Yeah.
All right.
How's it going there in New York?
Awesome. I did a podcast Monday. I was promoting gigs. By Wednesday, they were all gone.
The podcast was, or the gigs?
The gigs.
Oh, my God.
I had a casino in Pennsylvania for next weekend, and then the weekend, then 2 weeks after that, I was supposed to be in Vegas at the Rio. They both got canceled. Well, one got canceled. I got an email, I guess, Tuesday morning, and then the other one when they shut down Vegas. So, it's fucked up. It's a fucked up situation.
No, I mean, we're all going through it right now. I don't know what to do. I have no clue on what I'm going to do because we can't file for unemployment.
Yeah, I've been through this before where the bottom fell out, but and it was bad. So it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be not good for a while because I was saying yesterday that it's not like people are gonna rush back. I mean, people are gonna go out, but they'll come out on the weekends, and and then it'll take a while to build up because people will feel like uneasy, still with the social distancing and the fucking, just the whole fucking creepiness of it. But it really puts it in perspective because, I for one thought it was just, things were going like, not for me necessarily, but things were like, guys putting out a new hour every year, and it's like, I was just like, all right, well, obviously everything's going real good, so I figured we were due for something, but I didn't pick this. The last time it happened, it was the Gulf War. When it happened real bad, the Gulf War, like it happened bad in 2008, but the Gulf War was fucked up comedy for a couple of years because everything was going good, and then the Gulf War started, the first Gulf War, and it was on TV, it was on CNN. People were like, they just stopped going to comedy clubs because it was like, it put it all in perspective. It was like, it's like, like people are dying and you can't go out, and it's like, and you just realize comedy is fucking basically is eliminated quickly. It becomes not a priority for people to go to fucking comedy shows. But I mean, now they have more on TV. But back then they had a lot on TV. They had all those Evening at the Improvs and Comic Strip Lives, and so people were like, we'll just watch it on TV. We're not going to go out.
What happened in 2008? What was the big tragedy there?
Was when the whatever they call it. It was just when the stock market crashed and the real estate bubble and all. It was just that was bad, but it wasn't as bad because I don't know. It just wasn't as bad. Like the comedy clubs got hit, but they didn't get hit as badly as, you could go out, but you can't even go out now. So it's just bizarre. So it's nobody expected it, but whatever. I don't even know. The point is, whenever things were going good, I never thought, it's going to keep going good. I actually had this not a fight with James, but I said, when I was talking about James, who runs Governors, when I was opening for, whenever I opened for Louis, I would always get out there early just because a lot of times I was coming from Compound Media and I would just get out there early. So I would talk to him and I go, yeah, it's going good now, but you never know. Remember I said it bottomed out in the 90s, but he didn't even remember. But he goes, it's different now because now people can sell. He's kind of right. He said now people can sell themselves online, where back then there was no internet. In the early 90s, there was no internet, so you couldn't. So now, like, if you're a big name, you can still promote your gigs and stuff. So he thought it was just, he thought the fact that the internet would override everything, so people would always come out. But now they physically can't go out, and then even when they can go out, they're still going to be. They're still going to be a little bit reluctant to, like, rush out. That's my opinion. But I'm sick of comedy anyway. I mean, the Comedy Cellar used to have 10 shows. They would have 10 shows on a Thursday, and it's like there's that much of a demand for comedy. Like, I found it mind-boggling. I'm like, I just thought, like, it was almost like things were too good, where people would be, like, coming out, and then I'm like, and then you'd see these lineups, and I'm like, all right, well, they're standing in line for these lineups. Okay, God bless. But, but as soon as shit hits the fan, they're like, oh, we're not going out. Fuck that, we're not going out. And now, so whatever. I'm like, the point is, I'm prepared. When things are going good, I'm always ready for the other shoe to drop. I'm always like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's see. And this obviously had a long run of, like, comedy going good, and, like, the fact that they canceled the Netflix festival in LA, that gives me some pleasure. But that was going to be a complete, like, because people put comedy on such a pedestal. Like, it's like, I was watching fucking Bert's clip of his Netflix thing, and I'm like, I knew it. I knew, like, Bert has a new hour every year, and then I saw the clip, and it's just him telling a story, and that's what happens. When guys put out a new hour every year, it's like these fucking. Hold on, I gotta get this.
That's fine. I knew exactly how this was gonna go.
No, because when I used to do, like, Edinburgh or fucking or what's the other place in Scotland? Like, the guys had to do a new hour every year, and they would just tell stories. Every comic, all they did was tell stories, because you can't write an hour. You can't do a new hour every year, so they just tell stories, and that, like, quote unquote funny stories. So I'm watching Bert's thing. It was only 2.5 minutes long, but 2.5 minutes is pretty long. But he's telling a story, and I'm like, I knew it, just all stories. And then they did this, and then they did that, and it's like, not bits, because I just, like I said, when you got to do a new hour, these guys in Scotland and Australia, they always, that tour, that they all got to do a new hour, and they get reviewed, and like at what's the place in Scotland? Edinburgh. Yeah, so Edinburgh and what's the place in Australia?
I call Eddie Ift.
Not Sydney, Melbourne. So they all have to do a new hour every year to get reviewed and get a new show in, and it's just all stories. Everybody tells stories. One time somebody told me to go, oh, you got to see this guy. It's all fucking nonsense. It's nonsense.
No, I mean, I'm not impressed by comedy either. Like Bert's special, I'm not gonna watch it. I've seen half of it.
I wasn't gonna watch it, but I knew what it was gonna be. I'm like, Bert just did an hour, and now he's doing another hour. So I'm like, so the clip they show is the Netflix clip they show is 2.5 minutes long, and it's a 2.5 minute story. So it's just gonna be a lot of stories, which, God bless, but it's not my cup of tea. That's for sure.
No, I'm a traditional joke guy too. I like joke tellers like you and Attell. That's always been my thing, and it's so much harder to write a joke like that. It's so much easier to tell a story.
Yeah, but if you have a fan base, you just tell stories, and they want to hear them, and then it's like, okay, it's a fucking story, and that's how you kill the time. If you got an hour, listen, there's not that many people that could do an hour. Even back in the day, it was like Carlin, guys who were like really worked their ass off. But like Carlin was the only one who really put out like an hour, and a lot of his hours were just nonsense too. So it's like, if there's demand for a new hour and you want to put out a new hour, it's like, okay, but it's like it's hard to do. So this whole thing of like everyone just puts out a new hour every year and it's just going to be amazing is fucking is a joke. It's a fucking big joke.
Well, I remember that happened to Dane, because I remember Dane when he blew up. His first 2 albums were pretty good, and then the third one was kind of weak because he was telling stories.
Yeah, because then because jokes are much harder. Good jokes are much harder to kill time, because a good joke might be a minute long, where a story can be 4 minutes long, and then it's a funny story, and it's like I don't know. So I mean, I just thought comedy. I thought comedy reached a point where it's like, I mean, how much comedy do we need? How much fucking comedy do we need?
No, the bubble's gonna burst. You're right, and it was. I mean, it is as popular as ever, but it'll be interesting to see how we navigate through this. And I got to be honest with you, I'm looking to do something else. I mean, I'll always do comedy, but I've been a full-time comic for 8 years, like without a day job, and it's wearing on me. I don't think I really want to do it that much anymore.
Yeah, somebody has Bob Levy has called me for a gig in Labor Day weekend. I go, yeah, I'm not doing it. He goes, I go, oh, I won't be doing stand-up then. He goes, you quitting? And I'm like, I go, come on, man, seriously? Yeah, I'm quitting, but I'm like, am I gonna book it? So I said, what's the gig? He goes, oh, it's a thing in Ohio. I go, I'm not fucking going to Ohio on Labor Day weekend. Like, I can't. I'm not planning. Like, I'd rather be an Uber driver. I'd rather, you know what I mean? I'd rather not fucking drive to Ohio. Like, just the thought of driving to Ohio with Bob Levy. I mean, come on, no disrespect, but I'm like, I'd rather just be a fucking sous chef or something, or go back to college, finish college.
Oh, you're the best person to talk to during a crisis.
Yeah, no, I'm the only person to talk to. My lease is up at the end of April, so they sent me a thing because I'm supposed to fill it out by. Supposed to let them know by March 1st, which already passed, obviously, and they're like, sir, we automatically, you automatically renewed your lease because you didn't get back to us, so it's automatically renewed at this rate, and it's plus a fine of $250 a month. I was like, yeah. I go, yeah. You're gonna harass me in this climate? I go. Good luck talking to my lawyer. And they're like, oh no. I said, well, it's like comical because like, who's gonna come look at an apartment? You can't even leave your house, so you can't evict anybody. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have fun with them. Be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna pay rent.
Yeah, don't pay rent. You're going through.
Like, I have it. I've been in this building since 2014. Probably they opened in July of 2014. I moved in August 2014. So I'm sure I have the longest tenure of anybody in this fucking building. And I'm like, yeah, I have a family. You're gonna kick me out? Like when like basically it's like zombies walking the streets. I'm like, good luck with that. Like we didn't come to that point yet. But I'm like, yeah, good luck kicking me out, or good luck raising my rent. Fucking clowns.
Can you do squatting? You know what squatting is?
I don't know. I know in New York you could. I knew if I live in New York City, they wouldn't be able to fucking do a fucking thing. I could be here for years and years and years. Probably the same way here. They're not gonna be able. I already asked my lawyer. I'm like, what do I have to do? Because I just kind of don't want to pay my rent. I have it, but I kind of don't want to pay it just to see what happens. You know.
Is your gym? Are you allowed to use your gym right now?
No. Yesterday was the last day.
You should tell them you didn't sign up for this. Like,
I know. I'm gonna say like when. I'll say when's the gym open, and they'll be, we don't know. And I'm like, exactly. Nobody knows anything, cunts. I mean, it's so laughable that they can like think like, sir, please, sir, come on, sir, be reasonable. I'm like, reasonable. I mean, if I leave my house at 8:30, I don't get. Barry Ricks did my show last night.
Yeah.
At my house.
You FaceTimed me.
We were leaving. It was like 8:00 at night. We go, Barry, where are you going? He goes, to the city. I go, you're going to get shot like a dog.
Yeah, that's another thing. Crime's going to go up now because everyone's out of work. People have free time on their hands.
Crime is going to go up.
Yeah. So, and when you have idle minds and people get restless and they're freaking out.
Yeah, you're right. I hope they start looting.
The long-time repercussions of this is going to be bad, really bad.
Well, they have no idea. like after 9/11, the thing after 9/11, like you could go out. I mean, you could go out, and that hit comedy for a while too. But like, you could go out, and we had a common enemy, and construct. There was a lot of construction jobs, and like, but now it's like you look at everyone's like, well, what the fuck do you have? The lady, the fucking Chinese lady. I don't know if she's Chinese, but she might have been Asian. Anyways, at the, when you're paying cash and they don't give you the change. They put the change on top of the dollars.
Yeah.
And they hand it to you, and it's always hard to like manage it because the money starts sliding off the bills. So she hands it to me. The coins are sliding off the fucking bills, and then they fall on the floor. And I'm looking at her like, are you serious? And I'm like, you don't want to touch me? You're Asian, lady. You're the Asian. You're the problem. But she doesn't want to touch me, my bare hand. Fucking cunt.
What did Trump call it? The Chinese virus?
Yeah, I like Kung Flu.
Kung Flu.
Yeah, Kung Flu. I don't even know. I think I don't know. It's been around for a while, but it's like you can't get mad. First of all, you got to make jokes, and second of all, it's a Chinese virus, and people are like, oh, that's racist. It's like, who gives a shit, man? Sue me.
No, like West Nile came from what? West Nile. He's just saying where it came from. That's where it came from.
Yeah. They give it a name, so I like that Trump does it because he's like, it's such nonsense. Like even at the end of times, you gotta fucking call it the right word or else you're a racist.
Did you see that video going around where everyone's singing John Lennon's Imagine?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I don't know. Now everyone says it's. Well, everyone's kind of saying the same thing.
I'm glad. It seems like everyone's ripping it, the right and left.
Yeah, everyone's ripping it because. I mean, it's just funny to me, like people who are like Chris D'Elia ripped it, and it's like he would have done it if they asked him.
Yeah, but for a guy like Chris who's in the machine, ripping it, that's pretty good as a comic. I'm happy that he did that.
No, it's not pretty good. It's completely duplicitous because it's like he just wants to be like, hey, like I said, if they asked him to do it, he would do it. But now he's not big enough to get in on it, so he's like, oh, I'll rip it. Give me a fucking break.
Would you have done it?
No, they asked me to do. A comic asked me to send a clip of me singing Kung Fu Fighting, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't want anything to do with this nonsense.
Oh, speaking of which, I heard you shut down a new show. You shut down the Comedy Central show.
Yeah, I shut it down.
How many shows have you had canceled so far?
I guess Crashing, Red Eye, Opie and Jim, the Comedy Cellar show, something else. Even when the Comedy Cell, the first 2 times I was on, the first 2 weeks I was on this year, they used me. I was like, this is a bad sign.
That's the omen. That's and it's coming to an end.
Yeah, when they're using me, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So I wonder what's going to happen with guys like Mark Norman, Sam Morril, those guys who just need to get on stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Attell's probably losing his mind.
Oh, yeah. Attell.
He's never had to take a day off. He takes one. He used to take no days off. Now then he started taking one, but he probably going to see his mom a lot. I'm sure he's going nuts because he doesn't have anything to do.
See, that's the thing. I don't need to be on stage. I can go weeks without it. I don't care.
Yeah, but also Attell doesn't have a podcast, so he has nothing to do,
Like I talked to Godfrey, he's fine too because he's on stage every night. So he's just doing his podcast too, and he's doing his Instagram that he's popular on.
Yeah, you almost got to do something. The podcast is like a kind of a blessing in disguise because if I didn't have anything to do, you go nuts, man. I mean, my family's not here, so
How long they gone for?
I don't know. I only booked it one way.
That might be a sign.
No, I was like, I didn't know when they're coming back. I didn't know when school was up. But school is out in New York City till April 20th. So, and it might not even go back then. So April 20th, they were supposed to have off 1 week. Now they have off 2 weeks. And then, so I don't know, but I told my wife, I looked at airfares. It's $38 coming back. So I said they can come back. You guys can come back whenever they want because I have nothing to do. I don't have gigs. I was worried before because I thought, well, they have off. They'll have nothing to do. They'll get me sick. And if they get me sick, then I'll be coughing, and then I will think I have the fucking virus. But now I don't have any gigs, so it doesn't matter what happens to me.
I was actually booked at Side Splitters this week, and I booked my flight, my car rental. Everything was under $150. I thought and then Florida at last minute they decided to ban everything, and I was so pissed.
Yeah, but did they try this? It was supposed to be this week or last week?
This week, BT texted me on Wednesday saying we're shutting it down, but he was ready to go. He was ready to open.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It was weird because the cellar was open last weekend, and they were still getting crowds. So whatever. This is
like how crazy, how fucked is the stand? They took forever to reopen, and they were out of work for that year, and then they open, and this happens.
I know it's terrible. I mean, yeah, no, and the employees, like it's like a shit job. Like I said, I had a good year last year, and but I never assume anything. Like just because I got burned before, so it's like I know when the shit hits the fan, you got to be ready. I mean, I'm not ready like I need to be, but because I got kids and shit. But if I didn't have kids, I'd be set for life. So, but I'm just saying, it's like. You got to be ready because you can't get unemployment. It's one of the first things people cut out is like going out. They got to eat and they got to fucking watch TV or whatever, but they don't have to go out. So if you're at that mercy, it's bad. So all the people that work at the Comedy Cellar, all the people that work at the stand, it's fucking terrible. The staff and everybody.
And I can't imagine doing this with a family like you, Eddie Ift. I don't know. I can barely do it by myself. So if you have a family and you're doing this, it's insane. It's completely insane.
Yeah, but not really. But I'm saying, like, when I met my wife, I had cash, I had property. It's like, so I was like ready in a sense that, and like I said, I mean, having my kids, it is easy to come up with material when you have kids. So that's kind of the trade-off. I mean, I remember I used to watch Ray Romano, and I'm like, I thought like, oh, he's really good. And then I realized like, he's not that good. He just had a family. Like he was the only guy who had a family. So he had family jokes. His act was different. Like he was always good. I'm kind of joking, but I'm just saying like, it's just easier to just, when you have family, because again, it's just people can relate to it. Even if they don't have a family, they're from a family. Everyone can kind of relate to family jokes where if you're a single guy, what are you talking about? You went to the fucking CBS again?
That's my closer.
You went to the CBS?
Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying raising your family in comedy. It's a fucking... I mean, you've obviously had a lot of success in this business, but...
No, I'm just saying I'm used to it. Like, I wasn't going to start a family early, but I'm saying, like, once I got, like, a quote-unquote established enough, I was like, all right, I can do it. But it's a fucking pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass because mostly because you don't go to bed at 11 o'clock and you don't wake up at 7.
Yeah, you have to have some self-discipline with no structure.
Yeah. No, you have to adapt to them. They don't adapt to you, really. You have to adapt to them and their schedule.
Jessica Kirshen's going to be on this episode. Do you want me to say something to her from you?
No, she's going to be on. She's coming out. Where you're in Ohio?
Basically what I'm doing is I'm putting you guys on the same episode. It's going to go you, her, same episode.
And you're going to just talk to her on the phone like this?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if you want me to say something to her.
No, I don't know. Don't say anything because I know you'll twist it and you'll try to fuck me. Yeah. I don't tell you anything. I have good stuff for the show, but I can't tell you because you're a snitch, motherfucker. You're like the fucking. You're like you. If we were like cellmates, you would tell anything I told you in confidence. You would tell everybody.
I would never do that. I know.
You're a snitch. I tell you stuff, you tweet it within 5 seconds.
If you told me to keep it a secret, I'll keep it a secret.
That's why I always shit on people that you can't even, like, I go after Bert or Crystalia because I know you're afraid that it'll get back to them. So you'll probably take this whole thing out.
No, I'll keep it in there. I'm not on the best of terms with Bert. Bert kind of screwed me over.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, I don't care. They can't do anything. I'm just saying, like, all I'm saying is, like, you can put out a new hour every year, but, like, is like, what is it? I mean, yeah, you're going to get paid and you're going to get, and your fans will watch it, but, like, what exactly is it, you know? Like, I've been touring with Louis, and then...
Man, that hour is
Louis
good.
got a good hour. He's got a good hour, but again, he's got a lot of shit to talk about. And people are curious, and there's a lot of fucking juice on him, but you know, he's going to deliver. But again, he's got a lot to talk about, and he hasn't done anything. He hasn't put out an hour in a couple of years because of one thing or the other. So
that's going to be a special. That's going to be a special.
No, it's gonna be something that, you know, if it's, you know, it's gonna be hard to compare yours to his at this point because, you know, he's like I said, he's got a lot of shit to talk about. Nobody cares. Nobody's like, what is Bert gonna talk about? They already know. You know, what happened to Bert? Oh, he took off his shirt. Then he went fishing. So it's like, that's the thing. Like, you can put out a new hour, but like, what's it about? Like, did anything happen to you?
You know, but to his defense, and I don't even know why I'm defending him. If they're going to give you money to do it, you're going to take it.
No, of course, but then again, on some level, you're like, okay, what am I putting out? Even Louis tells me, he goes, I mean, I'm not even going to tell you what he says, but he'll say something, and I go, oh, now I see. He goes, yeah, doing comedy in big arenas is dumb. Now he says that.
Well, even when Schumer got really big, and she did that one special she got a lot of flack for, it's because she wasn't ready, but she wasn't going to turn down the money.
Yeah, but also, well, I don't even know that, but I'm just saying, it's like when you look back. So I said to Louis, well, why'd you do the big arenas? He goes, well, you just, every time you go to a city, you know, you want to work in a bigger place, and if you have demand for your tickets, he goes, I could do 10 shows at a theater or do 1 shows at the United Center in Chicago. So I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. But now looking back, he's like, yeah, it was. He goes, it's not good for comedy. So I'm like, yeah, it's not good for comedy. I mean, I opened for him and he did great, and when I opened for him in an arena in Philadelphia, he did great. And I thought it was good for comedy. I thought it did work, but he just, now looking back, he's like, it's not a great experience for the fans because they're too far away, you know?
Did he purposely want to do the clubs first before he went to theaters? Was that by design?
I don't know. I can't go into all this, but I'm just saying, like, when you're doing it, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the money. You know, if they offer you the money, you're going to take it. But I'm saying, like, looking back, you might go like, you know, maybe that wasn't.
Well, that's kind of like what Brian McCarthy did with you. He took the money.
Huh?
That's kind of like Brian McCarthy did with you. He took the money.
What do you mean?
Because he just showed up, and he was just taking the money because he would show up.
I mean, yeah, it's the exact same thing. I'm saying like in anything, but like, listen, if you do a new hour every year, you got to expect some of them ain't going to hold up. And you could take the money, but Bert doesn't need the money, and you know, but no one really needs the money. When you're doing arenas or whatever, you don't need the money. So you know, you get talked into it, or you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do a new hour, and then you convince yourself you have a new hour, and then you're like, okay, do I? And then looking back, maybe you're like, oh, that wasn't the best hour. But you know, we'll see. But I just think when Louis' hours come out, it's gonna make a lot of other hours to be like, oh yeah, pale in comparison.
Yeah, that's going to be. I can't wait because there's going to be so much talk. I mean, the comics are going to love it, most of them at least, and it's so solid. You're right. It'll make everything look watered down.
Oh yeah, you've seen it. Yeah, it's going to be loved. People are going to love it or hate it, but everyone's going to have like a strong opinion. So that's going to be great because it's going to be a real fucking lightning rod.
Are there any podcasts you want to recommend? Any like good-natured ribbing podcast?
Yeah, I always recommend, You Know What, Dude, by Bobby Kelly. Have you seen the Comedy Cellar show that they're doing?
The one that you're on?
No. They're doing the last 2 nights. They've done a live stream, but like Bobby kind of hosts it from his house, and everybody's in 5 different locations. It's fucking horrific. It's so bad. It's just because it's like you can't really do comedy that way. You can't have 5 people in 5 different locations all chiming in. It's fucking it's horrible. It's horrible.
That sounds like a Bobby idea.
No, Liz asked me last Saturday, before they were even closed. She goes, "Would you be interested in doing like a live?" So I said, I was like joking around, like how much does it pay or whatever. But it's like, I think they thought they would do it from the club. Maybe if the club closed or whatever, but now because of the social distancing, everyone's at their house. So, and then everyone chimes in. People chime in, but the timing's terrible, and and Bobby's a child. Bobby has to like make everything like as childish as possible. Like when he starts the show, it's annoying. It's annoying. He always takes the most petty fucking things, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what I'm talking about.
So what's a better podcast, the Comedy Cellar show or Brian McCarthy?
Listen, Brian McCarthy his show's so bad now, it's actually good. Oh, you know why? Because he can't get any guests because Brian's so delusional that he thinks that people would want to come to his house because he thinks his house is amazing, and it's really just 2 shitty apartments stuck together. But he thinks it's like amazing that people, want to see it, like this castle. I thought it was going to be a castle when I got there, like it'd be a fucking moat with horses and shit. The way he always described it, like I have this palatial mansion in Park Slope. You go out there, it's 2 shitty apartments. There's wet towels everywhere. It's fucking. There's like animals and shit, and then he thinks people would want to go to his house. Nobody wants to go to his house on a fucking Friday at 10:30. Now nobody's gonna go. So it's just him and Adam, and nothing happens to Brian. So he tries to make. He does what Bobby Kelly does. He tries to make he tells these stories that nobody gives a fuck about. They're not interesting, and he'll start telling you these stories, and you're like, wrap it up, motherfucker. But then you realize he has nothing to wrap it up to because he doesn't have anything else to say. And then Adam knows all this backlog of stories. So every time he tries to tell Adam a story, he goes, I'm sure I've said this before. And Adam goes, yeah, well, you said everything. So, and then it's so bad. It's actually good now because it's just painful. It's painful to watch. I mean, he's blind too. So, he's legally blind. A legally blind man sitting in his house that he thinks is amazing. Telling stories that are not even good.
Did I ever tell you he called me once and said, can you get Mark Norman on my interview show? And I'm like, I'll text him. And I texted him. And then he called me back 5 days later, pissed off that I didn't get back to him about Mark Norman.
Yeah, he's delusional.
Yeah, and Mark,
Mark Norman's going to go to his house. He's going to take the fucking train on a Friday morning to Brian's fucking house. You got to be insane to think people. I don't know if he thinks he wants people to see his house and it's not even nice, like I said, or you just think well, I'm Brian McCarthy. Of course, people will want to go to your house. I'm like, no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. I ask people to come to my house now because I don't want to go to the Strip, or I don't even know if they're open, but I grab guys who are from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Guys that I know will get here pretty easily. And, but I'm not going to fucking say to somebody come to my house and, my sweaty fucking dog and kid and whatever. I don't know.
Well, Kumia's doing a show at his house now.
Yeah. Well, that's how he started.
Yeah, so people have to come out to his house if they want to do it.
No, they're not going to go to his house. No one's going to go to his house.
All right.
No, I think somebody went to his house yesterday, but it's Joe. Somebody told me it's Joe Curry, the guy who's his friend. He lives out there. So if somebody lives out there, but I don't think anyone's going to get on the train to go to his fucking house. I don't think he even wants anybody to. The reason he's doing it is so he doesn't have to deal with anybody. I mean, I'll go in. I'll fucking go to. I'll do podcasts. I don't give a shit. I got nothing to do, so I'll go into. I might go in tonight. Just go in to the city, see what it looks like. Take the train. But as far as go, I'm not going to go to Kumia's house or Brian. I don't like to go to people's houses. I'd rather go to a place of business.
You should get a room at the Marriott Marquis tonight. I'm sure the rates are cheap.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
And baby Bill's
Marriott
working.
Marquis. No, it's so fucked up. All the stuff that I used to do when I was if my family was not around, or if I was depressed, I would go to a strip club or get drunk. You can't even do anything. You can't even do basic shit.
I know that's why I'm doing a podcast with you right now, because I'm out of my mind. I don't know what to do, so I just figure I'll do more podcast.
Yeah, because even if you go to the Marriott Marquis, which is right at Times Square, you can't do anything. You can't do a fucking thing. Yeah,
it's scary considering how packed that Times Square is, and then there's video and there's barely anyone there.
Yeah, except Bert's fucking poster.
Yeah, his Netflix that just came out. I'll plug it.
Yeah. No, we love Bert. We're kidding. We're just kidding, Bert. We love Bert.
You do. I don't.
Oh, you don't even know.
Yeah.
Then I don't either.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna wrap up the podcast. Let me talk to you off mic.
All right.
That was Kevin Brennan. Go see him. Never mind. Listen to his podcast, Misery Loves Company.